Good evening, ladies, gentlemen, and boys and girls, if there are any boys and girls. I'm just speaking to Jack, our special guest this evening, and I'd put a warning on parental advisory, potential explicit lyrics this evening. But it seems that the poems he's going to bring for us don't include swearing this evening. So you're okay, even if you are of tender years and sensitive to swearing. It'll be okay. So yes, welcome along. So tonight we've got Jack Horner, also known as Leon the Pig Farmer. He's going to talk about his mental health journey, which involves a breakdown, if that's the right word, and PTSD as well. And he'll explain as much as he's willing to around that. And also he's going to share his journey to becoming a performance poet and share some of his poems as well, which mostly around a kind of mental health theme. So I hope you find it interesting. Just before we bring Jack in, if you'd like to share the group link with your friends, that would be much appreciated. And if you know anyone that you think could benefit from what goes on here, just invite them in directly. So that's the link there. And if you're in the group already, you can just click invite and choose some of your friends to bring in. And if you are enjoying the Hive and feeling benefit from it yourself, then you can subscribe to help us keep it sustainable. And you can do that by going to buymeacoffee.com/thrivehive, where you can subscribe for £7 a month and get various benefits. Or you can just buy me a coffee, not a real coffee, because I don't do caffeine and I don't like coffee, never like the stuff. Jack, like me, is a herbal tea man. So, you can do that anytime you want. So if you enjoy the session tonight, buy me a coffee if you want and if you can afford it. And so, as usual, if you've got any questions as we go through the evening or comments, or if you just want to say, hello, it's me, I'm here, then you can do so in the comments. We can't see what your name is unless you go to this link here. You've got to give StreamYard permission to use your Facebook name. So, don't worry if you don't want to go there, it's not a problem, but just say, hello, my name is Bob, if that's your name, if you want us to know who you are. So yeah, do interact. Let us know if you have any questions, and we'll bring Jack in and have a jolly old chinwag. So hello, Jack, and thank you for coming.
Hi, how are you doing?
All good, thank you very much. Yeah, much appreciated you coming along, and you're going to share some of your journey and some of your poetry with us today.
Yeah. Without expletives.
Without expletives.
Yes. I'll do some off book. I've got some in my head. So yeah, I saw that. I found it quite comical, that note on there, because it has been mentioned before when I've put stuff in poetry platforms that I do punctuate some work with the odd expletive. It's purposeful. It gets people attentions at live gigs. But I'm always conscious I'm doing it, especially if my mum or my dad are tuning in. So you're always thinking, oh God, well, if I'm going to put that in, if I get off any live stream or if they're in the audience before, I've always had to say, sorry about that. And they're like, no, it's all right. It gets that point across when your anger or your frustration or your the tension that you were feeling at the time when I wrote those words. And that's what I kind of do with it, trying to transport it into the present with where I was then. And it's, so let's see how it goes, eh?
Yeah. I mean, if some slip out, that's okay. You know, we've given the warning.
I'm sorry if I do, and you get offended by it. It is just part of Leon, not me. But I have been a bit of a swear in the past. Yeah.
It's funny, isn't it? It doesn't matter what age you are, you still feel you have to apologise when you swear in front of your parents.
You do, yeah.
So welcome. And
thanks.
Do you want to just do a bit of an introduction yourself, Jack, to say who you are, what you do, a little bit about just a kind of summary of your journey?
Yeah, I'm Jack. I live in the Tameside area, Mosleigh, close to Saddleworth, which has been part of my healing process, go around the moors and that. I had, if there is such a definition, a kind of a breakdown 15 months ago now, March 2019, where my life just kind of imploded and things changed. And I found myself somewhere one morning that I didn't really want to be, in circumstances that I never expected to find myself. I And on coming away from that, I kind of started to untangle and started to go into some deep, dark places that I never thought that I'd experience, sort of thing. And I ended up going and seeing the nurse and then the doctor, and went on the journey, which has been where I've been going in the last 15 months, really. I'm an ex-squaddy. I did 10 years in the army, and then I've done other work since, which has put me in sort of a similar, without going too much into it, because there's still some sensitivity around it, but similar sort of roles that have caused me to have a lot of stress and anxiety, and also experience other post-traumatic stress. And I've had to look back on all that and realise that the life I led and the trying to push myself at 100 odd miles an hour through work, and which I was relentlessly never giving up, never been on the sick, never given time off, committed, realised that I'd snapped and I'd broken mentally, and I needed to repair and put my foot on the brake, which is what I've done over the last 15 months, really, and let myself repair and find out who I am, what I am, and where do I want to be going. And from that, over a few months of unraveling my head and starting to do what the nurse said, go walking, and doing what the doctor said of taking meds and clearing your head, I started creating words through Solace, through thinking of where I was. And in the summer of last year, that's how Leon spawned, for want of a different word, my alter ego of when I do spoken word, of writing and performing. And I created Leon the Pig Farmer about July, August last year. And from then on, this last 10 months now have been a crazy, undulating and exhilarating journey, really, of self-awareness, finding out about myself, and enjoying life, everything, and enjoying me. That's the main thing. Enjoying my own company, and enjoying writing, and enjoying meeting new people, and having a clearer head on a Saturday and Sunday morning, which was unusual.
Yeah.
But yeah,
wow.
So yeah, there's my introduction. Quite long, but here we are.
Yeah, no, thank you for sharing that, Jack. And the impression I get from what you've just shared there, there's two things actually. First, it sounds really painful what you've been through, but secondly, it sounds like a really accelerated process. The people I've spoken to in the past who've had breakdowns, PTSD, whatever, spiritual awakening, whatever you want to call it, it's been over usually a much longer period. But for you, it's a case of 100 miles an hour, breakdown, and then recovery in the space of 14, 15 months, which I appreciate the recovery is probably still going on. Yeah. But that, to me, that seems like a really fast process. Is that how you perceive it as well, or not?
Yeah, I speak to people at gigs and other things, and people are kind of surprised that the person I am now, from the shaking, 1,000-yard stare, emaciated person that I was last April, May, especially March, I was an absolute mess. And the person I am now, it can only, well, not only, because when I say only, I'm going to probably list a ridiculous amount of things, but I've totally embraced everything fully that I could do. I think that's part of my personality, that, like, this week I was going to paint a room in a house. I've done 3 rooms. If I do something, I don't do it in 50%. I do it in 150 odd percent. I think that comes back to one of the positive things that I've took from being in the army. If I'm given a job, I do it to 110, 120%. And I think with a bit of the obsession that I probably have in my personality, I've kind of looked at every facet of recovery that I can take on, and I've embraced everything. I've been lucky that I've not had to step into an office, and I've took a year or so out. So I've been in a brilliant position where I kind of live on my own, apart because my girlfriend lives in Japan, but we've spent 5 months together. Luckily, maybe the first 7 months, apart from spending 2 or 3 weeks holiday together, intermittently, I was kind of on my own to just unravel every layer of this onion, or whatever it was. But I found that the mold just got smashed last March, and I've been able to just obsess or really attack it full head on, like it attacked me. Let's say it attacked me full head on. Looking back retrospectively now, it kind of crept up over the last 5-6 years, very slowly, and it manifested. And up until the last year, where I knew I was suffering, that I refused to do anything about it. But I've looked back on all those points, and I think I've kind of took every angle that I could do and changed anything that I needed to. I embraced medication. I embraced, for initially 6 months, alcohol abstinence. I now have the odd tin of Guinness, the odd glass of wine. But what I have in a week now is what I'd have probably drunk in the first hour of going out after work on a Friday. Before that, went to a party or lock-ins or Saturday afternoon all dayers and Saturday nights, then Sunday afternoons. So I probably consume in a week now. I never say I'd be teetotal, because I do like a glass of red wine, or I do like a stout, or the odd pint of craft ale, but it's minimal. So I kind of went into abstinence for a few months while, and I took on the medication. Been enjoying exercise. I really took on exercise. Like I said, I used to drink a load of coffee. I have 1 cup in the morning to bump start me in the morning about 8-9 o'clock. And then I give it up. I eat greens, reds, all healthy stuff. I don't eat any junk food anymore. Yeah, I drink herbal teas. And before we went on air, I even have an obsessive progression where I'll drink green tea in the afternoon. I won't touch that after 4. And then I go on to like chamomile or rooibos tea. And then I'll have valerian hops and oatmeal and chamomile and lavender teas on a night. It's just, I've kind of gone a bit anal with it. I've gone as far, as much as I can. And then the writing has been a brilliant healer, as well as, more than anything, the support from my family, who I disassociated with and I've reintegrated with my mum and stepdad quite a lot. So, and found a stable relationship with my girlfriend. So I've kind of hit all the bases you kind of look at of what, so if you Google it, recovery, I've kind of done everything and hit it and focused on it as much as I could, really, if that makes sense. I think I've had quite a lot of luxurious time to be able to embrace everything you need to do. So that's probably accelerated where I am. But I'm still in recovery. I still get days where I catastrophize. I still get days where it manifests, where I wake up with clenched teeth. But I know through CBT how to deal with it now. As you can guess, I'm a talker. Sorry, you give me an open answer, and I'll go off on tangents. But yeah, I think in a nutshell, I've been very lucky that I've been able to self-recover very well in the last 15 months.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely fine to take as much space as you need, Jack. It's really inspiring to hear your story.
Yeah.
And so that sense I had of it being accelerated is definitely being borne out there. And I think it's coming from your passion and commitment. Like you say, you do everything 150%, and you really have committed to heal and to your own recovery, which is wonderful.
I think what also comes that with is it's going too well. So there becomes a level of suspicion that, right, when are them suicidal thoughts going to come back? When is the old Jack going to get back in here and start with all? Is he going to go out into the pub when all this lockdown comes, and is he going to smash it? Is he going to just give up? Right. And this becomes that level of suspicion and worry through being someone who catastrophizes. And that's the thing I've got to keep a lid on. I've got to realize it's a mental illness, and I'm totally aware of it. And I just got to ground myself, like the therapist said, and deal with each situation daily now, rather than worrying about the future. But yeah, I have that level of suspicion that, right, when's the next attack coming? What's it going to come like? And how are we going to deal with it? But it's a daily journey. Most people, if whoever's listening and whoever takes from what I do, it's an undulating ride. It's bumpy. It's a roller coaster, and it's just taking it on and realizing that it's no different to having when my head went. It's no different to when I've had sports injuries. You've got to commit to it. Otherwise, you're never going to be right. You'll always have them niggles then. So it's quite a similar analogy, really, I think.
It is, yeah. And there's so many similarities between physical health and mental health, you know. And
they are, but unfortunately, in society, they treat so differently.
Yeah.
There's such a differentiation that if you'll go down with a broken leg to A&E, or you'll go to the doctors if you've got serious rash or a serious flu or whatever, but you're feeling bad, you kind of hide it away. There's a stigma to it still. And that's kind of how, with Leon, how it started, that I wanted to break down them barriers as being a person who is that age of a statistic of the age of one of the highest killers being middle-aged, early to middle-aged men who bottle up, and being one of those sort of, I don't like to word use stereotypical, because it's I don't know if there is one, saying stoic northern ex-working class council estate lad who joined the army, who's put up so many barriers in his life. But there is, because it can get anybody. It can be it not only one demographic of society suffers. So I don't like to use that stereotype, but I was that person who was very much a closed book and who's very much chin up. Yeah, it'll be right. We'll be fine. Put the kettle on. I don't need to talk about that. It's put away to the back of my head. However, like physical fitness, as you get older, I think your levels of resilience weaken. I found that my level of being able to contain it, locked away in file Z at the back, weakened, and it just I couldn't keep it in anymore. And it just came out and caused me such a lot of heartache, pain and problems. But now I'm willing to talk about it as openly as I can. And like people like yourself who do a brilliant job, just try and open up. And if every session or every interview or every performance I do, I can reach one person, and that person stops doing what I wanted to do with my fascination with jumping in front of trains, or they don't jump off a bridge, or they don't go and take medication, or however they choose, they don't do it and they seek help, that job is done. For that day and that performance of reading out 10 poems or whatever in a 20-minute set. If I can attach to one person, yeah, you can get the applause, but if one person comes to me and goes, mate, you've just reflected my life, I didn't realize there was more of us out there, and I'm going to go speak to someone, it's job done for me. I've achieved what I wanted to do. One person has come out and said, yeah, I've now got the strength to go, if you can do it, I can do it, sort of thing. I always thought you were happy-go-lucky and had such a brilliant life, and the way I've seen you on the music and social scene or out with your friends before, you always seem you've got everything. You've got a nice house. You've got no financial worries, but people don't see what goes on behind the scenes. And I want to take my behind the scenes, which I've done to a stage, and let people have it, and take people out of the comfort zone as well, which maybe comes back to a bit of the swearing. Get people's attention if they're at the bar having a drink. Chuck a few expletives. Right, I've got your attention. Let's have a talk about mental illness, and yeah, let's be open about it. We're the worst, I think, men of our age, for older as you get on, for just bottling it up, really.
Yeah, absolutely. And statistics in this country show that it is men aged 40 to 50 who are most likely to die by suicide.
Yeah, it's shocking. And
it is.
I hadn't realised the level of it until I'd experienced it myself. It's crackers.
Yeah, really inspiring. And we're getting some comments in, Jack. So don't know who this one's from, but it's a clapping hands emoji. Clapping hands, Jack. Well done, Jack, I think that is. And Hayley says, such a wonderful, positive personality. I hear myself in a lot of what you're saying and how you say it. She's a Yorkshire lass, like you're a Yorkshire gent as well.
Oh, good. Hello, back in Yorkshire.
Yeah. Good stuff. So thank you for that. So before we kind of get on more to speak about your alter ego, I wonder if you'd just expand a little, if you're happy to, Jack, around what you feel led to your breakdown, if that's how you want to phrase it. Do you think it was just working too hard for too long, bottling's the foot, a combination of things, using alcohol or something else?
I think the tip of the iceberg was alcohol and working too hard and fast. That was half of it. Was the environment I worked in pushed me, but I'd still go another 10% to prove my worthness. And then I counteracted it on weekends with a lot of drinking, finishing work, either going to a gig or going to my local and really going for it. Getting up the next day, either football, an all-dayer, going to watch a band. Bands wouldn't come on till 8 o'clock, but I'd find an excuse. We'd go to town from about 12, get a training, do a pub crawl, a booze cruise, and just go a load of craft ale places in the afternoon. And then if there was a match on a Sunday, doing that. So I think that was the last 2 or 3 years was definitely the work and the spiral of work and drinking at weekends, which didn't allow me to fully recover when it started to manifest. But I can take it back to probably a lot of it was probably through stuff that I'd seen in the army, through living in Africa or doing a lot of time in Northern Ireland, where I was exposed to gunshot, a lot of dead bodies in Africa, a lot of genocide. I'd been mortared, my mate had been sniped, and a lot of that kind of came out in my cognitive behaviour therapy. A lot of incidents that were bad enough in themselves in one, but I'd kind of been able to deal with them to some extent, but accumulatively, they didn't help. And through that, I didn't attach to people very well. I had a few ex-army friends. It was touched in my therapy. I don't believe I have a problem now, but I still harboured a little bit of issue with attachment through my dad leaving at 7, where he wasn't about. Don't get me wrong, since 14, my stepdad has been absolutely brilliant. But I think it's that sense of abandonment and then the wanting to please everybody since then to get the attention back, and especially from male peers and groups of friends, which is why I became kind of a great drinking buddy, a life and soul at party, a bit of just go out and enjoy yourself and getting that attention through early years in my life of promiscuity and just wanting emotional attachment. And then when it came to commitment, just running away because I couldn't deal with it. So a lot of that went on in my 20s, 30s, and to some extent into my early 40s. And I just ignored everything and thought and hid behind these faces and a shield of other alter egos, which weren't really me. I wasn't even on my real name on social media, and I found that I was kind of hiding behind, and I've talked about that in certain poetry. I hid behind faces, and I gambled my life like a pack of cards, and that it had then spiraled too far, I think. And I think within the last couple of years, I'd kind of lost a lot of the control over where I was going, and the drink and the overworking certainly didn't help me to sort the problem out in the last few years, really. So, yeah, it was an accumulation of a lot of things, and a lot of it came out in my cognitive behaviour therapy, which I kind of embraced and openly. And that was the first time I think I'd openly talked to anybody apart from the writing and to the odd crowd. Once I started my therapy in August, it was when I could just tell somebody how it felt to see loads of skeletons lying around in an African church, or after a genocide, or how it felt to be lying under a bed when a mortar was dropping, or how it felt to my mate coming back into a camp after he'd had a 50 caliber shot through his hip, or other incidents of being locked up in a naval base in Angola when I was in the army and being treated like a mercenary, and how it was like to feel like your life was going to end. I'd mentioned them flippantly, like, oh yeah, I've had this in my life, I've had that. And I always made it into a joke that I dealt with it and it was in the past. But to sit down with someone for an hour and forensically strip an incident down that was a whole new thing to me. And I think once I could get through all that, I finally saw myself recovering a lot more. And now I'm in a really good, stable relationship that's loving, and I've integrated with family, and everything's kind of changed. So, yeah, it's been going on for 30 years, I'd say, but accelerated over the last 10%, last 2 or 3 years. And the drink didn't help, although I've been a regular drinker since I was a kid. But yeah, I'd say more so them things caused the breakdown, the drink and the work, but they weren't the main cause. Everything else that went on in the past were the things I was running from and hiding from. So yeah.
Well, thanks for sharing all that, Jack. And, you know, in my experience, I'm trained to be a psychotherapist at the moment. So in my experience and what I've learned so far, it's like 90% of issues that people present in therapy with have their roots in childhood. So it sounds like, you know, a lot of the abandonment issues and people pleasing that you adopted in later life were perhaps the root of it, the attachment stuff that you talked about, and your dad leaving. And even though you did get your stepdad, who was a positive influence on you, it's, you know, when you're 7 years old, you don't have a lot of emotional resilience, emotional vocabulary to be able to understand and process what's happening. So all of that leads on to different behaviors, and quite often it can be some of the stuff that you've talked about, you know, that life and soul of the party, putting on a brave face, using substances, overeating, overworking, whatever it is. And eventually, over years and years, all that stuff just weighs down too much, and there's some kind of explosion or implosion. And adding on to that, you know, all the stuff that you talked about seeing when you were in the forces, gosh, you know, I can't even imagine what that would be like. I've seen films, but being there, gosh, it must be so traumatic. And to have to just carry on because it's your job and you're a man and you're not supposed to feel according to toxic masculinity, I suppose. It must be really hard to try and push all that down.
Yeah, I think I felt I had a duty to kind of lock it down, because it was you get sort of brainwashed to some extent when you're in the forces, that you're doing your job, you're serving your country, it's what you want to do, you're a volunteer. So anything you get exposed to, it's sort of like an occupational hazard, and that's a polite, nice way of putting it. But I'm talking back to the 80s, 90s. I left in the late 90s, and some of my friends have seen a lot worse, and it's trying to, well, maybe I have or maybe they haven't, in different circumstances than me. I never had to experience what was going on in Afghanistan, but it's seeing people come back broken, injured, and needing to heal. And I've kind of reconnected with a few people that I'd lost touch with in the last few months as well. And it's surprising that I still held a little stereotype of ex-friends from the army that, oh yeah, they'll just think, oh, I'm a bit of a, I don't know, getting a bit flowery and getting all like that. And you worry about what people are thinking. But I've had some really good positive feedback from a lot of people, ex-servicemen who I still keep in touch with, or ones that I've reconnected with, and have really attached and understood what I've been doing. So that's positive. And I have reached out to a couple of places, and I'm hoping that other organisations will want to hear the sort of the story, and I can pass it on even further and get it out even more, really.
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
I do like to talk openly about it. I don't think there's anything you should be able to hide behind, because the more open you are, that one thing you want to hold back might be the one thing that someone who's listening now might attach to and want to learn from. So what's useful to me and what hasn't been, it could be the total opposite to somebody else. So I think you just got to really just relay everything you can, and hopefully that there'll be something that someone can take as a tool.
Yeah. So maybe you can kind of carve out a career as a speaker around mental health, and for ex-forces people, or just men, or just humans in general.
Yeah, who knows? That wouldn't be a bad thing. If I can get the message across in any way, it'd be really good. Just to break down the barriers, the stigma, and get people to go and see help. I fear that in this time at the moment, when we come out the other side of this current journey that everyone's on, it's not going to be a happy place for a lot of people, with people being stuck inside and a lot of time to reflect, I think. And there's all the resources, rightly so to some extent, have been diverted to other places. But I think even once everyone celebrates the end of the lockdown, I don't think that's the end of this journey. I think we've got a long way to go, especially with NHS staff that have seen a lot more stuff than they ever expected to in their life in such an accelerated short period of time. And it can't be nice. Really, I've got a lot of admiration for anyone that goes into work at the moment and they're walking into a contamination zone. It can't be good. Yeah. So, yeah, big hat off. Salute everybody that's doing all that at the moment.
Yes, yeah, quite right. I was listening to a podcast the other day, and they were saying that, I think it was a psychologist who was saying that it's almost certain that there'll be a massive spike in PTSD following this crisis. At the minute, we're all just kind of getting through it, but it will land at some point, and not just people who work on the front line, but just normal folk like the rest of us will experience PTSD.
Yeah, and there's a lot of people that aren't being able to grieve at the moment properly, is there? That they've kind of like had to say goodbye to loved ones, or not even had the chance to say goodbye. And that in itself is a ticking time bomb. That in itself is 6 months down the line going to cause such delay issues on birthdays, anniversaries, or whatever, that hadn't been able to deal with at that current time. So yeah, there's a lot of incendiaries there that wait to happen, and I don't think we're going to absolutely understand the magnitude of this for a long while, really.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah.
Okay, so shall we move on to Leon?
Yeah, let's talk about Leon.
Yeah, so you kind of developed him, like you say, as an alter ego. So before you kind of get into the poetry itself, do you want to just explain why you felt it was a useful thing to do, or an interesting thing to do, to develop this other character, this other side of you?
I felt that's a good question, that really. It's why I felt the need. I don't know why I felt the need to create the name. It was suggested to me after I'd done a couple of spoken words. I'd been writing since around, I'd say, the end of April, May time, after a month or so after seeing the nurse. And I'd had words that are written down as a journal that ended up, because of the cadence of walking, were quite rhythmic. And I turned them, I thought, right, I'd like the Google, get a creative angle. So I started writing them into spoken word, a poetry form, which I only intended keeping to myself. And then after speaking to family and my stepdad and my mum, and then, it's really good, I went to a couple of spoken word nights. And from then I got a lot of good feedback and took it to a stage at a festival. A lot of my friends in different bands were playing. And I said, can I just do a little reading, a little 2 or 3 minutes before each of you performing? And they went, yeah. So just to take spoken word to a festival stage that my friends were kind of curating. And I got such a great feedback from that. And then speaking to a couple of friends that were promoters, they were like, do you want to do a bit at my gig? Do you want to do a gig here? Sort of thing. You've got something there. And I was like, yeah, okay. Right, what we putting you on the poster as? Is it Jack Horner? Or what do you want to go as? One of my mates said, you could do with like a stage name, or like an act name or something like that. What do you reckon? Because it is something totally different that you're doing, which has just come about, than what you're like as a person. And I suggested, this name came into my head straight away. And I just said to him, put me on the poster as Leon the Pig Farmer. And he's like, where did that come from? And I said, it was basically, excuse me, it was a name that a friend of mine, Jason, used. I only ever heard him in public using it once, but we were in a nightclub in '93 in Stanley. The club doesn't exist anymore, and up in County Durham. And we'd been staying at a friend of ours, and he was talking to a girl, and he said, "What's your?" He had a Western-super-Mare, so he had one of those Avon Somerset accents. "What's your name?" And he said, "Leon." "And what do you do for a living?" "I'm a pig farmer." And I spit my beer everywhere because I was sat next to him. And the mate I was in touch with said, "Leon the pig farmer." I hadn't known at that point that there was this dark comedy film set in Yorkshire from a Jewish guy that inherited a pig farm from 1992. I don't even know if he did. He must have done, because it's too much of a coincidence. But it wasn't until later that I realised there was a film, Leon the pig farmer. And I just thought, in ode to an ex-squaddy mate, and where a lot of my trauma had come from was from the army, I just thought Leon the pig farmer, it's different, it's catchy, it's punchy, it gets people's attention. It's totally different to me. And let's run with it. So I thought, yeah, I'll do that for a couple of gigs that I might get. I didn't know that I'd be doing stuff like this then. I didn't know that last week I would have been on MMTV, the Marley Music Television channel in Manchester, which I've done twice. I didn't know that I'll have done other festivals, lots of gigs in town with a lot of good psych and post-punk bands and new and up-and-coming bands. And I never knew it would have gone where it did. So it was like, well, I'm running with it. I've got the ball. Let's just keep it. So Leon the pig farmer, after opening up a Facebook page, and then people saying, you need an Instagram page. Oh, and then you need a Twitter page. I'm like, oh, all right then. I never thought that it would escalate like it did. And Leon the pig farmer is stuck now. So much so I've even gone to a couple of gigs in town. People go, oh, are you Leon? Well, my name's Jack, but yeah, I am the pig farmer. So yeah, anyone that's vegan, vegetarian out there, no, I don't hurt pigs, and I say that at some of my gigs. I wouldn't class myself as a vegetarian or a vegan. I do kind of live mostly that kind of life, but I'm not. I couldn't call myself that. I do eat a bit of meat, but yeah, I never hurt swine. So yeah, that's where the name was formed. And then since end of July, beginning of August, I kind of took it on to do a lot more spoken word nights, which if it's a poetry night, I'll still introduce myself as Jack. But if it's a performance gig or a performance spoken worder, then yeah, I'll go under the alter ego of Leon the pig farmer. That was kind of created for me, the alter ego thing. My friend who runs a promotion company, publishing company, said he wrote me a good little sort of introduction thing, and he kind of created that word alter ego, that like a Mancunian Yorkshire beat poet, which we thought was quite good, since I've lived near Manchester for 21 years and not really lived in Yorkshire since I was 17. It was good, but I like to keep that Yorkshire angle to it, so I don't want to lose the ties. Although I've been quite a lot. I said the other night at a gig to this lad who's quite known on Manchester radio, like, I go, wait, when do I get this adoption certificate then? That I'm apparently like, I've moved over the border. But I do remind people that in Mosley I live in Roughtown, which up until 73 was part of the historic county of Yorkshire. So they only moved the boundaries from here, I think it was in the early 70s. So I'm still living in a historic part.
Yeah, but once a Yorkshireman, always a Yorkshireman. Honorary Manc now.
But, yeah, I can peel an orange in my pocket. I'm that tight. So, yeah.
Great stuff. So we've got some comments that will come in. So yes, great to hear how passionate you are to resolve mental health issues, both your own and to help others. Clap, clap, thumbs up. Thank you to whoever that was. It just says Facebook user. And the next one, thank you for raising awareness about mental health, Jack. Absolutely brilliant and inspiring. I wish my dad's generation had been more open to talking. It's heartening to know that men are now finding more confidence to talk about mental health issues.
Brilliant. Yeah. Glad we get it across.
Yeah, good stuff. Okay. So would you like to share your first poem with us, Jack, this evening?
I will, yeah.
Or should I say Leon?
Leon, shall we go to Leon? I don't know. Is it like Wurzel Gummidge? Do I have to just change this head?
Put a woolly hat on.
Yeah, I normally get so nervous at gigs. I psych myself up when I've got that in front, and you don't get an opportunity at these. So it's kind of like, I don't know how it's going to come across. Yeah, I'll do one. It's kind of like two back to back. And it's got a line in it, which is a Japanese proverb, which is Saro Mokikara Achiru, which means even a monkey falls from a tree, which is quite apt, really. It means anyone can mess up. If a monkey can fall from a tree, a monkey can mess up. Anyone can mess up. And I kind of put that as the finishing line in it. And I do that back to back with another one called The Devil. And it's me confronting my inner demons. Okay. So I'll do this off book, and hopefully I won't mess it up because I've not got the words in front of me.
Okay. Do you want a bit of time just to compose yourself?
It's good. I've been walking up Saddle Moor today, and when I do that, I recite my full 20 odd I've got in my head. So, yeah, and it has got expletives, but I'm going to try and keep them out. So if I say the odd one, I'm sorry.
Well, we're after the watershed. You want to go ahead if you want to. It's entirely up to you.
Okay. There's that geezer with a long leather coat, a red paisley bandana that covers his throat, a tilted trilby eye so vicious that he's lurking in the corner of my subconscious. He's a waiter to the world of my emotional dysfunction, serving ready meals to my personal destruction. I accept his twisted, malevolent suggestion, and I dine on the guilt and a bottle of correction. But when did I let him decide and wait for the bill to restore my pride? You see, the menu, it reads like an old damaged story with every attempt to remove life's glory. But this is Twilight Crazy Town. Why should I pay with my voice and sound? I dig deep in and delve for me 9 out of 10. It's a 3-course thoughts to feelings and to actions, and I'll win. But I stop. And I reflect, and I don't collaborate or even reject. I'm intrusive. I ask my thoughts why, and I don't contemplate or listen to lies. And did it serve you? Did they get in the way? Did they deserve you? Can those thoughts stay? Don't be ashamed of what you've done. Be punching proud of what you've become. I confronted stories of a tiger and hunter, of milk and honey, and they make me wonder. There was a pauper farmer, a broken son, and those of wild horses and what the army had done. I'll fold paper into fighter planes. They're flying fucks because they help not blame. I won't let the cash cow grind me down. I'm going to take back my orb and the thornless crown. I'll pour water on your flames of suppression. I'll pour petrol on hope so they burn with passion. I'll restore cracks with glistening gold. You're a unique history and a story to be told. You see, the reaper sits with a rusty blade. He's frowning and cowering because our futures are made. So here is a message that I give to you. Saromo Kikara Achiru. Because even a monkey falls from a tree. Because my heart is now presented without a black and tortured soul. And I'm instructing Lucifer, go and ride on home. I'll unhinge, remove myself from the ebony cross. I'll extract those nails one by one and my hands are held aloft. So come on then, Diablo, let your dog off the leash. I'll stare into its gaping jaws and I'll break its foaming teeth. My black sheep fingers are burnt. They're still placed on a trigger. I'm a darkened silhouette and a lonely standing figure. So here we are, old Nick. I ain't afraid of this. I'm going to grip you. I'm going to choke you. I'm going to silence your snake hiss. I'm going to escort you from my party and vanquish you because it's my life. And you think that you can extinguish my candle in the night? Well, here we are, Darkened Prince. You think you can shine brighter? Now, I'm the fierce dog. Now, I'm a battler and I'm a fighter. And I will not be imprisoned or suffer in a golden silence. The cemetery gates are ripped open and I'm going to dance without a shiners. So we're sitting here now, Baphomet, and you've played your final ace. I'm healing, you're deceiving, and now I spit in your flipping face. Thank you, Leon. Whew.
Wonderful. Thank you for that, Jack.
Leon. 2 shorter ones back to back, but they've both got a similar meaning of dealing with the devils, the demons, and everything that's going on in your head.
Wonderful. Yeah. And you said I'm a fighter in there. Yeah. And it's very clear that you are. And I just want to reflect what I was feeling when you were reciting your poems there. I mean, for me, it's really powerful. Your passion comes across. And it was like an alter ego. It felt like a different person to me coming through the screen to talking to Jack. But yeah, I felt excited by that. I could feel, my breath quickening, and it was the passion I felt coming through there, and because the material resonates with me personally as well, it's really powerful.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Oh, good. Thank you very much. I hope people kind of got it and enjoyed it. Really, there is a lot of words there. I don't know. There's probably about 20 verses in there that I've done, and it's a lot to take in. So I kind of do it a lot slower when I'm doing it like this. I can be more accelerated when I'm on stage, and there is a few more expletives. I was conscious to leave a few out, but I enjoy doing it. It's a good release, and every time I read it, it's me realizing that where I was when I wrote that one, which would have been, I think, September time, going through therapy, and a lot of that in the words there is talking about the things that I've dealt with through therapy to where I am now, that I don't, although I enjoy reciting that, a lot of those feelings I don't feel now. So it's kind of a celebration when I do it, that I'm not going through half as much or even a quarter of what I was going through then. And even that compared to the 6 months previous. So I kind of like doing it as a celebration.
Yeah, celebration, definitely. And
that's what it's got to be. I don't like to dwell in the past and think, poor me, how did I get there? And dwell on the things that happened. It's got to be celebrated at where I am now, 15 months on, where we are, really.
Yeah. But I imagine it's part of the healing process, and it seems really cathartic just to write that and also to recite it. And each time you recite it, maybe you feel less connected to the feelings that you had at that time. Yeah.
But I celebrate it. It's like going back to an old friend. I'm reconnecting, and I totally appreciate what he was going through then. And it's like meeting up with yourself or meeting up with an old schoolmate years ago and realizing how you've both moved on, really. And that was just written, 6-9 months ago. So, yeah.
Sorry. Give me 1 sec. Sorry, this is very rude. My children have just arrived, so I'm just going to say hello. I'm very unprofessional.
Okay. Can I just let a bit of light in? I look like I've got 2 faces. I'm like the Phantom of the Opera.
You go ahead. Let's have a timeout. 20-second timeout. Hello, my darlings. Oh.
I thought you were in your dressing gown. What time do you have to be back?
Can you come back at 9:15?
Yeah.
Have fun. Take care.
Did you have a watch?
There we go. Never had a tea break partway through one of these before. But there we go.
Cheers.
Marvelous. Yeah. So some feedback on that one then, Jack. So, you stripped some expletives out, and maybe it's a good job because it says, "Hi, Mum here. You're doing brilliant." Heart emoji. Mum's watching. And another clap from somebody. Fantastic. So powerful. Wow. Great. That's new material I hadn't heard before. Really powerful. And a kiss. I was gripped and wanted to really listen to all of the words. Very powerful indeed. So a theme of power coming through there, which really shines.
That's kind of like what I want to get. It's without, I don't know what the word is. I suppose metaphorically hitting people with a sledgehammer with words. When I'm on stage, I want to grip them and realize the true toxicity or the true vitriolic nature of what mental health can be about and how it can get you and how you can deal with it and you can stand up to it. And I think a lot of my words can be coarse, and I want to get that across because it's not a nice place to be. And I want to get that across. I'm glad that it's been met and people are understanding that the powerful. Yeah, that I like. Thank you very much for that.
Yeah, good stuff. Yeah. There's no point dressing it up in cotton wool because experiencing a mental health issue isn't fluffy, is it? So
no, it's not. No.
Yeah, good man. Okay, so what else did I want to ask you? Have you? Well, I imagine you are familiar with Marquis Smith.
I am, yes. I love The Fall. I love the way he performs. I love that his monologue, the way that he puts words in his social commentary. Very good.
Yeah, so I feel there's a bit of his essence in you, maybe. And I was thinking, I'm guessing you're also familiar with the Inspiral Carpets.
I am, yes. I've had some very nice words. I don't want to name drop here, but Clint Boone's been very complimentary. I did one bit on a radio show of his once, and he was there at a gig that I did in Stockport before the lockdown. And it was nice that he was very complimentary about the stuff I do. And he name dropped John Cooper Clarke in there and other things like that, that I just went, wow, it's nice for people who I've watched on a stage and admired to come and actually watch and engage in what I've done and give me compliments, because without sounding horrible, people they didn't have to say that, and it was nice that the compliments came my way, and it gives me inspiration to keep on doing it, really.
Great.
It's one of my favourite tunes that I want you, which is the Marquis Smith and then Spiral's collaboration.
Yeah, that's where I was kind of coming from.
Like 100 mile an hour, going for it.
Yeah, that's kind of where I was coming from. And I was thinking, what I'm doing here, I think, is trying to set up future careers for you, Jack. So you can be a mental health speaker, and you can also, I was thinking, maybe you could do some kind of collaboration and speak.
I've got a couple that are ongoing collaborations.
Okay.
With a couple of people that do music, but I've also, my girlfriend Sachiko, who she said she was going to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning to watch this, but I said, you got up at 4 o'clock to watch the MMTV one on Saturday, have a sleep in, and if I can get any sort of recording of it, I'll send it to you. But she might be awake watching. I don't know if she's commented, but I do a collaboration with her as a band called The Dirt. And it started when she came over, and we started talking when we've been together. She was like, I speak English, but I can't write English lyrics. And she's a guitarist and a multi-instrumentalist. She does a lot of electronic stuff as well, samples. And I said, well, why don't we create something and I'll put words to it. So we did. And then when she was here for 5 months before she had to go back, we created two EPs and put them on Bandcamp as The Dirt. One's her playing a lot of guitar effects through a loop station, and the other one is her creating a lot of drums and beats and sounds. So we did one electronic and one with guitars, and that's on Bandcamp. Little plug, The Dirt 71. So I've done that, and I've got another friend here who does a lot of music who sent me a couple of tracks to put words to, and I'm doing one with another one called, there's a band called San Pedro Collective from Manchester who are good that I've given some words. So hopefully something will come of that. But yeah, it's nice. And with having a lot of friends who are musicians that I've supported at gigs, it's nice to perform with them. People that I've stood at this side of the stage with, and I'm now able to join them in their creativity and add a different dimension, excuse me, and an element to that set. Like you saw me at Jake. Jake's one of my friends, and he's a brilliant, absolutely outstanding musician. And to share a stage with him after watching him over his journey through bands and solo stuff was just brilliant. I just loved it. Yeah, it was
really powerful to see you performing live there. That was wonderful.
If there's anyone who's a musician that wants to create something and have me talk over the top of it, whether it be electronic or guitars or whatever, come give me a shout.
Yeah, well, I'm thinking you might be a good fit for LOA State. Are you familiar with them?
Oh, I know LOA State. Yeah, I know Sid. Because I knew Sid in the Gramatones and then the Cupid when he was, and the Mananas before he was there. So I know Sid. So yeah.
Nice collab.
We seem to have a few mutual friends.
Yeah, I reckon so. Yeah. It's, I mean, the Saddleworth music scene, Manchester music scene is it's a lot of camaraderie there, isn't there? So
there is. It's great. Yeah, there's it's bubbling. People who say that new music, there's nothing out there, and they retrospectively go back to the old nostalgia stuff, they haven't scratched the surface. And this is another thing there's a lot of good small music venues in Manchester where there is a great community, and having a lot of friends that are either performers, promoters, or sound engineers who run gig venues, it's been quite effortless is the wrong word. I don't know. Cohesive. It's been very good and symbiotic the way that I've worked with other people. and being able to stream in and ask to get on a stage, and it's been very well received. So it is a very good scene in Manchester. I love it.
So, you know, given the story that you've got behind your work, and given your work rates and commitment and energy and passion, and the talent that you undoubtedly had as well, Jack, put all those together with all of these people that you know, I think it's probably not long before you're going to be in a stadium, you know, performing to tens of thousands of people.
That'd be nice, wouldn't it?
It would be nice. Yeah, it'd be great. Yeah.
It's crazy. I have got a lot of ideas of projecting imagery at the back with soundscapes and working a lot more with Sachiko when she gets and moves back over here. I was supposed to be there, funny enough, in Osaka yesterday. I was supposed to land on the morning of the 4th Japanese time, and I was supposed to be there for a month now, and we were going to do a bit of rehearsing and more creating. Alas, that's got put on hold because the flight was going, but I can't leave the country to get into the country. So she's coming back here earlier in the summer, and hopefully we'll be able to start again. But anybody got any instrumentals they want to send me? I've got books of words and stuff which I like to just immerse in a track. I've got one off a friend of mine, Gary, in Mosley, who does a lot of stuff with television and things like that and theatre. And he gives me a couple of ones. He gave me a dub reggae one, and I love doing that. And he's given me another one, which is very Balearic, very chilled out and relaxed. And all I could think about was the storm passing or the sun and the tranquility of like a Cafe Del Mar scene. And it was like that. And I can't wait to start working on a few words with that one. So it's nice.
Very eclectic.
I've never had this creativity outlet. And I think that's great for anyone and that's got any mental health issues or is on a journey. Any creativity outlet, whether it be building furniture, playing a guitar, making words, painting, cross stitch, crochet, anything you can think of, get it out there and create and do something. The sense of enormous well-being and the sense of gratitude and self-esteem you can get from it is unbelievable. And I think that's one of the main things that's accelerated and helped me over the last 15 months. It's been great. I'm coughing. I've not got COVID, I think. It's because I was up near the saddle with there was more fires today, and I went round the back, and I think they've still got a bit of cough on my chest because I had to go around the back of it, and it was coming across.
Yeah, I saw that yesterday. Very sad. So sounds really eclectic, and I totally endorse what you're saying, Jack, about creativity and any form of expression, especially creative expression, is wonderfully healing to work through mental health issues, I feel. And you come out with something beautiful from it and something you can share with other people. And like you said earlier on, if it resonates with one person, it's done a job, but it's also doing a job for yourself, isn't it?
Yeah. It's great. And like I kind of hinted it a little bit before that as long as I'm feeling great about it and getting these words across, whoever's listening may attach to a different line or a different verse of that poem, and that could be something that they find something in, which means I've expressed old hurt and anger, but somebody else is attached to that, and then they can take that on and pass it on in some other creative form. And it's keeping the message going and opening it up, I think. But I'm enjoying doing it, and I still enjoy doing it. And I think it was like with the journey recovery, I kind of give this 100% that I rehearse. Even in lockdown, I rehearse 2 or 3 times a week. My 27 that are in my head. I learn more that I'm doing as the dirt with Sachiko, and I write more. I have a scrapbook that I write notes down. I'm always on my phone when a word or an idea comes in my head. I'm taking pictures up on Sadworth Moor of different things that are visually descriptive that I can take away and use as lines in poetry. And I'm always thinking, where's my next line? Where's my next verse coming from? And it's great. It keeps the mind positive, and tires it as well, which means I've got into good sleeping patterns. I think that's another good thing. Whereas when I used to catastrophize and get a lot of anxiety, it would lead into the night when everything's quiet and I would be awake overthinking. Whereas now, because I'm overthinking on positive things through the day, I'm becoming more mentally fatigued for good reasons. And it's meaning that once I've gone through my tea process and finished talking to the Sachiko in Japan on a different time zone, I'm getting quality sleep, which is a good thing. I think you need that. Find whatever
Absolutely.
you need.
Yeah,
Booze was never a good alternative.
No, it might send you to sleep, but you don't get the quality of sleep, do you? When you've got
no, you don't.
alcohol
The
in your
next
system.
day, it's like horrible. Yeah. It sounds
Yeah.
weird, kind of preaching this from the person that I was a couple of years ago, but yeah.
Good to look back, isn't it, and see how much you've changed.
It is, yeah. It is good.
Yeah. So, okay, so a few more comments, and then I'll just ask one more question, and then perhaps have another poem to finish, if that's okay.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Okay, so we've got Sean. Hello, Sean. Powerful demonstration of self-awareness. Yeah. Rachel. Hello, Rachel. Really powerful, Jack. Thank you. Inspiring. And Facebook user, don't know who this is, it says, totally gripped by what you've just said, Jack. It isn't nice, and the thought that it's possible to stand up to it, no matter how bad it can be, will stay with me. Thank you. So there you are. You've helped some people this evening. It's really inspiring. Yeah, that's the word that comes to me. Passionate, powerful, inspiring. I love what you're doing. So, yeah, I suppose just over to you really around, is there anything else that you want to share, either about your journey or a message to people, anything that we haven't covered that you'd like to bring?
I don't think so. I think we've talked a fair bit. I just think positivity, look to yourself. Don't be ashamed of what's in your mind. Go speak to someone if you don't feel right. Self-awareness. I hadn't realised that how low down. Have you heard of the what's it called now? The hierarchy of needs, Maslow.
Oh yeah.
Of self-esteem and actualization. I've wrote about this in some poetry, that I hadn't realised how low down on that scale I personally was in achieving certain levels. And I kind of looked at that from when I was a trainer, teaching stuff. I used to think, yeah, I'm confident, I can do everything, I'm fine, everything's fine. When you look inwards, I was nowhere near. I didn't have the esteem. I didn't get any self-actualization. And whereas now I've come through that, and I've wrote stuff about ascending pyramids stone by stone, and it took longer than this to build Rome, that it all kind of, that's part of my journey, and mentioning things like that. I don't think there's anything more to say. I think everything you come across every morning when you're on your walks, and it gets it out there, fresh air, getting help. Don't be ashamed of medication. I was the worst person that, even when I got a sports injury, of taking paracetamol and brufen, because I never used to like taking any pharmaceutical products because I didn't trust them. However, I'm the first person now to put my hand up and say, yeah, I prescribe citralopram. I've got no issues with that. It's the serotonin levels, however you want to, it's leveled me out. It's helped me deal and accelerate around my recovery in lots of other areas. So there shouldn't be a stigma like there used to be about people on antidepressants or anti-anxiety tablets. I just think we should look at this very positively and treat it like any other injury. Just let's keep spreading this positive word, that it's not wrong to feel bad. It's good, because there is light at the end of these tunnels, and it's about getting yourself. It's people can help you, your family and doctors and that, but it is down to you. I think as a person, you've got, like any form of addiction or any other thing else that's a mental health illness, you've got to be wanting to do it, and you've got to want to get out of it. And whether it takes that catastrophic point in your life or you've got to see something, whether it be from what you're doing or what I can say to someone, and it can resonate with them, and they can look in the mirror and go, yeah, I'm feeling that. Right, I'm going to do something about it. You've got to be able to want to heal. And I think people have warned me for years, you're pushing your life too hard, you work too hard, you drink, you're partying too hard. Yeah, but I'd never listen. And something had to happen. But if we can, as people and other people that listening can share it to their friends and go say to someone, be honest with friends. Look, I was listening to this lad. He went through what you're going through. You might not realise it, but I'd go see a doctor. Just go. If you don't see it, they'll never know. But if you do say it, what's the worst can happen? They can say no. But if we're open about it, because you'd say to someone like, mate, you look odd with that bump on your head. Why are you limping? We'd do it. So let's just get the dialogue. Let's get open. Free talking. That's what I say. And I was the worst for it 15 months ago. I'll put my hand up and say, yeah, I hid behind those barriers, behind those walls, behind a veil, and never did it. And it's like, and I've totally flipped it over. I suppose it's like an addict preaching about alcohol or drug use or something like that. Or when you look at your parents saying, don't do that, but you did it. It does come across a bit like that. But this is more serious. Let's stop people wanting to kill themselves at the end of the day, because life's too great. It is out there. I know we're going through torrid times, but you grip life and dance with it. It's brilliant. You can have such a great time. So let's spread the love and spread the word.
Spread the love. Don't feel ashamed about going to seek help.
No, don't.
Part of the human condition.
It took me to walk down from my house at the top of a hill down to the medical centre in tears and more or less be on my knees in front of a nurse. I was almost in a fetal ball. I'd spent a year or so sleeping like in a fetal position, grinding my teeth, and I couldn't put my hands behind my back through the tension. I thought it was a rotational cuff injury or just getting old. It wasn't. It was tension. So if you're grinding your teeth, if you're feeling tense, if you're clicking your neck all the time, even leg injuries, anything, it's them toxins in your body and your brain's telling you need to go see someone. So yeah, go see someone or come and watch me live. There's a plug. Come on,
or do both.
Wherever Leon the Pig Farmer is.
Yeah, brilliant.
That was horrible, that one. Sorry, but yeah, I just thought, yeah, come and say hello. That's a natter.
Absolutely brilliant. Okay, so Becky, I'm guessing this is. I wonder if Jack would like to join us and share some poetry on our first group walk and talk. So I don't know if you're aware of some changes that are going on in the Hive, Jack, but the walk and talk that I do every morning, we're going to evolve. I'll probably keep doing that, but we're going to have group ones as well when we're allowed to do so.
Okay.
And just get together, go for a walk, talk about mental health, talk about what's going on for us, and just be very open, honest, authentic, just be ourselves. So open invitation, come along if you would like to.
Accepted.
Brilliant. We'll book you in.
Yeah, just give me the start point. I'm not far away.
Indeed. Yeah, great stuff. Wonderful. Thank you very much. So, yeah, really powerful messages and sharing your journey. It's been a real honour to hear how you've very openly spoken about your own challenges, and really inspiring to hear how you've got through it. And you haven't got through it, you've powered through it.
Powered through it, yeah. But it's still a journey. And although I suppose, I powered through it and I probably took my foot off the pedal, it's still a journey. And I know it took years to get here. So it's going to take years. I'm totally aware of that. But I think the initial outpour that happened, the fallout, I really did grip it by the neck, and I have accelerated through it. And I can only thank family for that, my girlfriend for that, friends for supporting me, and everything was good. And I suppose not everybody has that. And that's the problem, I think. The support networks that you do need. You've got to be able to feel comfortable at putting that hand up and going, things ain't right here. I had it before, but I never did it. So if I had people around me and I didn't do it, it must be horrible for people that haven't got those sort of networks, who can't put their hand up. So, and I still had to go through this absolutely catastrophic period in my life to actually open up. But yeah, I'd be quite happy to talk a lot more about this. And even when we get them walks going on, and yeah, I'll come along.
Yeah, brilliant. Thank you. I was saying on my walk this morning that they say it takes a village to raise a child. And I was suggesting that it's really helpful as an adult, if you're experiencing any kind of mental health issue, it's really nice if you've got a little village to support you through it, because it's really tough when you're on your own. Yeah. Sounds like you had that support. So Sachiko, did you say your girlfriend is?
Sachiko, yeah. Sachiko, Sachiko.
Very good. So Sachiko, if you're not watching now, this will be on my YouTube channel shortly, or you can just join the Hive and watch it back on the Hive anytime you like. So what when a band's have finished their set and they go off and everyone knows they're going to come back and do an encore, and everyone go, one more song. So can we have one more poem?
One more poem,
please.
Would you like? I'll do requests. I was going to do a reading, but I don't like to look down and not look up, you see. So I'm going to put that away. In fact, LOA stay on my book club.
Hey, go on, Sid. Brilliant.
There we go. So yeah, Sid gave me that in the Jimmy's before it closed down, and I was chatting to him when I was doing a gig downstairs. So name dropping again. Is my mum still on? If she is, give her a wave, and I'll do one to her.
Is mum still there? If you're still there, give us a wave, mum.
Miss MacArthur, give us a wave.
Is anybody out there? Don't know. Nothing coming through at the moment. I'll let you know if anything comes through.
Right, okay then. Right, I'll do this one, and if she does, I'll put it on at the end. If that's okay.
Oh, we got a yes. Yes.
Right. This one's for my mum and my stepdad. And like I said, all these traumatic incidents can go back to being a kid. And like you said, a lot of them do. Well, this is an ode, a tip of the hat to my biological father, who couldn't give a shit, and to my mum, who's been brilliant, and to my stepdad. And it goes like this. She brought me in at the pink light, and she comforted my first booze puke. You see, she put food on the table. She then stood in your shoes. She made Christmas special, birthdays, Easter too. Summer holidays were memorable. But where the hell were you? You see, she was the best job juggler and the spinner of fragile plates. She found money to save up so I could join an 80s craze. My first football boots and my educational uniform. But her greatest gift was to be vocal and never to effing conform. She stood proud like a lioness in a jungle of hopeless fools. She built a council castle so that I could rule. She knitted my social awareness. She supported my vinyl survival. She even bought me a book on the birds and the bees through blindness or just sheer denial. But she nursed and then she taught us. And she didn't give me the rope. But when I was naughty and I was a bugger, she'd wash my mouth with soap. She nursed and then she built us. And she let lessons teach. And when I boarded my first train for the army, yeah, she was there to weep. But I only remember you vaguely. See, you're like a distant ghost. It's when I look in that effing mirror that I'm haunted the most. Because it's like a 7-year itch, but only one that you can scratch. I was branded, I was discarded, and I was put onto a reject batch. I even walked over a bridge, and I built it over halfway. But you morphed into Usain Bolt as equals. I couldn't make you stay. You see, I walk with a ghetto blaster because I know it's not me to blame. You skulk and hide in your Walkman world. Moving house couldn't hide your shame.
Well, I mean,
you see, I'm a corduroy baker boy. You're a kiss me quick mess. I'm a velvet collared Crombie. You're a crappy rain mac at best. I walk in Dr. Martens. You're no better than a hobnail boot. I'm tailored in MacArthur tartan. You won't fit in my birthday suit. You see, I'm a true reflection of this protective peridot woman, because without her loving safety net, these words, they won't be woven. Because Dennis, you're a menace and Elizabeth is queen. She's always been there for me. You've been nowhere to be seen. Dennis, you're a menace. Elizabeth is queen. My stepdad's been there for me. You ain't been nowhere to be seen. Because Dennis, you're a menace. Elizabeth is queen. The stepdad's been there for me. Now you don't even make my dreams. Thank you. That goes out to anyone that's bringing kids up on their own, and to warrior parents out there who might be together but finding it hard in these times. So that kind of came out in CBT about going back a long way and realising I had to put an old ghost to bed. And that was how it came about. So, yeah.
Wonderful, very cathartic, very powerful. I remember you doing that at Jake's gig last December, and yeah, well done, Elizabeth, and your stepdad. You've raised a stonker.
Stonker, I love that word. Yeah, stonker.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. I nearly called you Leon then. You were Leon. You're now Jack again.
I'm back to Jack. Yeah.
Wonderful, wonderful. So, yeah. I really thank you. We've got two fabulouses coming through. It's been a real honour, Jack, to have you on Pathlight Thrive Hive, and I've really enjoyed connecting and listening to your story and hearing some of your work as well. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much for having me, and thank you for letting me spread this word and getting some of my material out there and chucking a couple of plugs in. But most of all, reaching out and letting everyone know that the end of the road isn't nigh and the tunnel isn't dark. There is help out there, and let's spread the word. Let's get everybody happy and mentally fit and healthy.
Yeah, absolutely. Break the stigma, get people talking. If you've got something you're slightly worried about, go and see someone. And you can connect with Leon at Leon the Pig Farmer. Head to that Facebook page there. Any other website or anything you want to promote?
Yeah, I'm on Instagram as Leon, I think TPF, and I'm on Twitter as Leon the Pig Farmer, and I've also got a page called The Dirt, which is me and Sachiko doing a bit of music, and on Bandcamp with that. If anyone wants to have a listen, you get a few free streams. Have a listen. It is very heavy guitars or electronic stuff. If it's not your cup of tea, but share it to someone who it might be. But yeah, great. Go get creative. Everyone get creative, sort of thing. It's a great time to have a bit of time on your hands and make something or of anything. Just create.
So walk, talk, create, go and see someone, and you've got the power within you to get through whatever you're going through. If you haven't, and you can help someone else. You be that support, and go and help someone. You might just be the nudge that someone needs, and let's save people from going under. Yeah, let's do that. Jack, once again, thank you very much. I look forward to connecting with you in the future, whether it's at a walk and talk or anything else. Like I say, it's been an honour. Thank you very much once again.
Thanks again for having me, and thanks everyone else that's tuned in and listened, and the great comments that people get. It does give you inspiration to keep on going and keep on doing what I'm doing, really. So yeah, thank you very much for tuning in and listening to this great concept that you've got going on. It is good, and I'll tune in when you're out walking again. Great stuff. Thank you, Jack, and hopefully speak to you soon. Yeah, take care. And goodbye. Bye, everyone. Have a good, what day is it? Have a good rest of your Thursday, and see you tomorrow morning for a walk and talk. Tomorrow night, 8 o'clock, for a connection and support and meditation session, if you fancy that, on Zoom. Take care. Bye.